In today's Stream It, I'm so excited to say we're going behind the scenes at Hogwarts.
And also, we didn't quite anticipate the owls who are carrying it so beautifully in that scene, found it difficult to lift that because their little heads are only about that big. And so you can imagine this was very heavy, so we had to make some lighter weight versions for the owls.
And getting spooky with Uncle Fester.
The Addams Family is a group of truly insane, bizarre, very different people, dark and weird in their own way.
Plus, we're giving you 5 essential things to watch this week, including the return of an iconic Disney duo.
So hit the lights, grab the camera, and action. This is Stream It. Hello, I'm Robin.
And hey, I'm Connor, and you're listening to Stream It, the podcast for huge interviews with your favourite celebs, our favourite celebs too, and also our top streaming recommendations. Film reviews are in there from people your own age as well.
Oh yeah, we've got it all here at Stream It.
So this week, we're going to be hearing from the actual graphic prop makers for the Harry Potter films, MinaLima.
That is so cool, Connor. I'm on board. And we're going to be speaking to the man behind Uncle Fester and the Addams Family too, Nick Kroll.
But before we get into it, we like to have a bit of trivia fun here on Stream It, don't we, Robin?
Oh, we sure do.
And today, I've got a question for you.
Oh no, it's my turn.
It is your turn. Last week was hard with the Disney Princess one. I found it hard.
Yeah, I know, but I do like a Disney princess.
So I'm going to get you with this one.
Okay.
In Up.
Yeah.
What is the name of the old man who attaches balloons to his house? Now, the reason this is a good question is because he's the main guy, number one. It's a great film, but it slips your mind. Let's see if you can think about it.
Oh my, do you know what? I actually have no idea.
Hard.
That's really thrown me, that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Oh no. Okay. Well, whilst I have a little think about it, and of course you guys can play along too while you're listening, we'll hear from our fellow Fun Kids presenter Dan, who presents weekdays at 1 p.m.
Yeah, he also presents the Fun Kids Science Weekly podcast, the weekly podcast that opens your minds to the most amazing things in the universe. It's all science, science, science. You'll love it. You can find that by searching for Fun Kids Science Weekly wherever you're listening to this podcast. But anyway, Dan managed to interview MinaLima, the people who make the graphic props for all the Harry Potter films. I mean, how cool is that? Let's take a little listen.
Thanks for having us.
What was the very first thing that you ever made for anything Harry Potter-y?
Harry Potter, yes. Well, it's quite a lovely kind of thread actually, because it was one invitation letter to Hogwarts, which, you know, innocently I didn't realise was going to also be my invitation to the Wizarding World, because it was, you know, I was invited to do 4 months or 6 months, I think, on the first film, and kind of 20 years later we're still here talking about it. But yeah, that was the first prop, and without that piece, I guess nothing would have happened to both Harry, the Wizarding World, and to the whole unfolding of the stories.
This is the most, Eduardo, probably the most iconic. I would say you've got the broomsticks, the wands, the golden snitch, and then this, the letter I've got here. You'll know it. It's the letter that he's bombarded with in the first film. It's such an iconic image.
As Mira said, if Harry hadn't received that letter, we wouldn't be here talking about this. So, so this letter, I think Mira is the most iconic piece on Harry Potter. It's not because you made it, but I think it's because of the meaning of the letter, that Harry is invited to this wizarding world for the first time.
And this, as you say, this invited you to be part of the Wizarding World as well. When you're making something for such a huge film, such a huge series, how much guidance are you given by the director and the producer and people in charge? Are they very specific, here's what I want? Or have you got an opportunity to just use your brain?
No.
That's a good question, yeah.
We were given we are completely freedom to initiate all the concepts and all the designs. And of course, in films, it's a partnership. So you work with the designers and the director, and you have to show them. And if they are happy, and mostly, luckily, everything that we kind of initiated, they agreed and they liked it.
And of course, don't forget that there wasn't a right or wrong to begin with, because nothing really existed. You know, there were no wizarding maps or newspapers or letters and posters that we could go and find and buy and borrow or rent. So it all had to be invented. So it was kind of easier in a way for us to just offer up that style and see if it worked, and it kind of did, apparently.
But I think the approach that we had as well, that we were following exactly Harry as well, because Harry was the first time that he has been introduced to this amazing world. So we were doing the same thing.
What's the stage of making something? So as in, you know, if you're doing homework at home, you get given a list of what you need to do. If you're packing to go on holiday, you get a list of what you need to pack. How did it work for you when you sit there for the third film, say The Prisoner of Azkaban? Does the director go, right, here's what I need, a list of like 5,000 things?
Now, what we do, we work with lists. Lists are very important. So we read the script, and from the script we will create 2 lists. One list is the action props, that are the props that the actors will interact with. For example, the letter is an action prop. And we do another list that is enormous, is huge, is the background dressing. That would be anything that's graphic to decorate a room. For example, if I walk in the street, all the signage, even the cars, the car plates, everything comes to the graphic design department. Yeah, so the background dressing can be quite intense because you need to make sure everything fits
And fun
properly.
fact is that you don't shoot, most films, I think there's very few, are not shot in the order of time chronologically. So if this object is, I don't know, gets burned, for example, but they shoot that scene before they shoot the one where it's not, then you need to think ahead. So that's when the lists become really critical, because you need to be very organized about what's needed when, what time of year it is, who's got it, whether it was broken before or after, you know, all those kind of little subtleties that need to then flow through the film.
But a good example is with the letter, Namir, because at the scene that you mentioned with all the letters coming through, you had to make thousands and thousands of different.
Yes, and also we didn't quite anticipate the owls who are carrying it so beautifully in that scene. Found it difficult to lift that because their little heads are only about that big. And so you can imagine this was very heavy. So we had to make some lighter weight versions for the owls, which you wouldn't know unless maybe you could just freeze frame the film and see if you can.
Yeah, constantly problem solving. How late in the day are you working at times? So, I don't know, perhaps when Harry's in Ollivander's getting his wand, if I looked around the corner, would I see you two out of shot, like quickly painting bits of wood? How close to the wire is it?
I mean, with the whole point of having lists is that you can plan ahead, but the whole point of human beings is they change their mind. So as soon as someone changes their mind or an owl reveals that it can't carry a letter that you've made without knowing that that was a special requirement, then you might be doing some late nights, and that's just part of the process.
How annoying is it, especially with a film like Harry Potter where everything gets blown up and destroyed? What's it like for you as props people when you put so much work, so much passion and time into something and then it eventually gets blown up? And do you need multiples for these things as well?
Yes, multiples.
But one thing that is all the books, all the school books, we have to make them beautifully. We send it to a book binding. They do all beautiful leather work and with tooling and embossing, and they send back to us. And when we received the books, we have to destroy it. We need to age to give the
patina of history and
so like for
life,
example, Guido the Bard, the book that Dumbledore leaves for Hermione at the last film, the books arrived beautifully. We designed the entire book, but the book binder put it together, and after we have to go and sand and destroy, throw on the floor and age with coffee to give the sense that has been with Dumbledore for a long time.
Things,
but so we don't really. It's all about the story now. So whatever works for the story, we need to do.
But you said, do we mind things being blown up and destroyed? Well, that's only the ones that you actually see. Don't forget, for everything that you see in the film, there's probably been another. For every one prop, there's probably another 20 things that have been created that never quite make it into the final cut. So that's just part of filmmaking for everybody. For, everyone involved, there's always been much more effort that's been put in that just simply doesn't make it into the final cut.
What's the toughest thing that you were ever asked to make? The biggest challenge that took you ages and took you so much imagination?
I think in my experience was more anything Muggle.
The normal stuff, because everyone was like, oh no, Muggle, no. We all wanted to be immersed all the time in the wizarding world. So every time there was a scene outside the wizarding world, we were like
in a cafe. Or don't forget, there's a few scenes that go into the real world, and all that stuff needs to be invented. We couldn't really just go and buy, branded drinks or magazines or labels or street names and things. So it all had to be made, but to look as though it just was part of the background, which is kind of what people do most of the time in our role for films. But so that was probably the most annoying thing, but probably the most challenging and interesting thing was probably the Marauders map, simply because it didn't have any explanation as to what it should look like. It told us in the books what it did and what it made people feel or do, but it never actually was, she never gave a description, a physical description of what it should look like, which was fantastic for us because it gave us this freedom to really kind of invent a visual language for it, both in the illustration part of it, but also in the kind of construction and the 3D part, how it would unravel. So
with the Marauders map, a lot of that is special effects. So they open it up and then everything's moving, which I imagine must be done on the computer. How much thought do you have to give with physical things that you are making, how it can be changed and edited on a screen and made all magic using special effects?
In Harry Potter, most of the props, the paper props and stuff that we've been tasked to do still keep their kind of paper quality. I'd say the probably the most extreme, and that was such a basic thing, was that the Daily Prophets, the newspapers where you had the photograph was animated.
A moving photograph,
So we would deliver a finished piece, as Eduardo said, an actual newspaper, and wherever there was a photograph, we'd put a magical piece of chroma key green, and then in post-production they could animate whatever they wanted in that space. But for the most part, even when the lettering moves and stuff, we just make sure that we deliver what we want. The beginning, even the Howler, for example, the beginning one and the end one, and maybe a little storyboard of what it should do in between. But on the whole, what was lovely about Harry Potter, that even for the sets, everything was so built and physical. You know, they didn't rely too heavily on visual effects unless it was something like Quidditch or flying, or, you know, so.
But even there's a scene where the Marauders map is closes magically in Lupin's table. That was all done physical by a magician, like a real magician. So but of course, the flying banners with the names and the footsteps, those were all added on visual effects. But we gave the banners and the footsteps. We draw the footsteps and gave it to visual effects, and after they added.
It's a really lovely collaboration actually between the departments when that happens.
It's been such a treat. Harry Potter is 20 years of the film now, the first film. It's been such a part of so many people's lives, and you're, as I say, not quite unsung heroes, but you're the people that have made so much of, like, the building blocks that no one really ever wonders how they get there, and it's because people like you have put so much incredible work in. Listen, MinaLima, the two of you, thank you so much for coming in and telling us all about it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Connor, I wish I was a wizard.
Me too, Robin, and me too. I wish that I had a wizard cape.
That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? And a wand, of course.
Oh, I'd love a wand.
But thank you so much for that, Dan, and to MinaLima for the amazing interview. We've learned so much.
Yeah, we learned so much, and we hope you did too. Why don't you get in touch with us and tell us your favourite Harry Potter film? Now, that is a hard one to decide, and we'll read out some of your comments next week.
Yes, just leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts telling us which film is your fave and why. Oh, and don't forget, give us 5 stars. It really helps us see it.
Yeah, please do. And leave us a comment at funkidslive.com/stream it, and we'll read out some of your responses next week.
It's now time for us to share some things with you that we know you're going to absolutely love.
Yeah, basically, it's time for us to do a bit of hard work, isn't it?
About time.
Yeah, it's called Look Forward, our list of 5 things we know you're going to want to be watching this week.
Look Forward. 5.
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. This is a live-action film featuring animated versions of the Disney's chipmunks, Chip and Dale. It's not a reboot, it's a comeback. And that's on Disney Plus right now.
4.
Back to the outback. Tired of being locked in a reptile house where humans gawk at them like they're monsters? Listen, a group of Australia's deadliest creatures plots a daring escape from the zoo. Yeah, this is happening, and it's on Netflix.
3.
The Prince of Egypt. Oh, this one is a classic, and it's on Amazon Prime right now. It's all about 2 brothers named Moses and Ramesses who grow up to be the best of friends. However, when one of them becomes a ruler and the other chooses to live for the people, their friendship, well, it turns bitter. It's so good. Amazon Prime for The Prince of Egypt.
2.
The Ghost of Molly McGee. Now, we featured this in episode 2 of Stream It, so go back and take a listen to our interview with the cast if you haven't already heard it. But Molly McGee and a grumpy ghost named Scratch somehow become bound to each other when one of Scratch's spells backfires. So Molly lives to make the world a better place, fix what has gone wrong, and kind of spread joy, whereas Scratch wants to make the world a worse place, break what has gone right, and spread misery. Yeah, kind of the opposites. Despite their differences, the two of them form an unlikely friendship, a bit like me and you, Robin.
I was going to say that. You bet me to it.
Bit opposite. That's on Disney Plus right now. Take a watch.
1.
Gigantosaurus join Rocky, Bill, Tiny and Mizu as they follow their herd and encounter many exciting adventures along the way. From mapping the stars to searching for flowers, watch them gain independence and strengthen their friendships with each new challenge. All the while learning more about the biggest and most mysterious dinosaur of all, of course, the Gigantosaurus. That starts on the 28th of May on Tiny Pop, and you can watch it every day at 7:30am and 5pm. Are you alright, mate?
Sorry, I've just got that tune stuck in my head. You know, the Addams Family.
Of course, it's an absolute classic.
I'm going to blow your mind. I've interviewed Uncle Fester. Well, the guy who plays him.
What? Jealous?
Yeah, I actually spoke to the Nick Kroll about the Addams Family too, which is about the family going on like adventurous trips in a hideous and humongous camper van. It's silly, it's spooky, and well, it's brilliant.
Shall we take a listen?
Let's do it.
Well, the Addams Family has been a family that's been in the pop culture for many, many, many years as a cartoon strip and a number of live action movies and a TV show. And this animated movie is the second one. And the Addams Family is a group of truly insane, bizarre, very different people, each one truly strange, bizarre, dark, and weird in their own way. And together they make a very tight-knit family. But like any family, they have ups and downs and don't always get along. And so in this film, they go on a road trip together to sort of try to bond. And they're truly creepy and wacky and weird and a super funny group of people.
I feel like it's really relatable for everybody as well, because kind of all families are a little bit like that. We're all weird and wonderful in our own ways, aren't we?
It truly, I think, and as strange in particular as this family is, it is a perfect encapsulation that every family is weird and every family finds the outside world strange, and then also looks at each other and said, like, well, they're my brother, my father, my sister, mother, or grandfather is as weird as anybody else.
Yeah, of course. It must have been such a privilege to be asked and be involved in a film like this. It's got so much history. The name Addams Family, it's a household name. Everybody's heard of the Addams Family. What a moment for yourself.
Yeah, I grew up watching these all the different versions of the TV show and the Addams Family values in the 90s. So anytime you get to be a part of something that with as long and rich a legacy as the Addams Family is terrific. And then being able to perform alongside like Oscar Isaac and Charlize Theron and Chloe Grace Moretz and of course the most important of all, Snoop Dogg. I mean, what more could you ask for?
So cool. Look, I don't want to tease too much. I don't want to give away too much. But at the start of the film, Wednesday, your niece, you play Uncle Fester, gives you some octopus DNA to try and make Fester a little bit more intelligent, okay? So I've got a question for you, Nick. If you could take a personality trait from any other animal in the world other than an octopus, what would it be and why?
Oh, well, I was going to say, having watched The Octopus Teacher, I feel like it's a good one because they're clearly super intelligent animals. You know, I've historically, I'm weirdly obsessed with raccoons, and they're very funny little animals. They're resilient. They will eat anything that's put in front of them. They will find food they can, get inside of like little doggy doors. They'll eat the trash. They're very resilient. So I have a huge affinity for raccoons, and I wouldn't mind being like a seal. I love just like a big fat seal hanging out on a beach, tanning, and then slippery sliding their way back into the water. Seems like a good life.
There we go. Raccoon meets seal. Nick, thank you so much for coming on to Fun Kids. Great to chat, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Good luck with the film.
Thanks, Connor.
Oh, thank you so much, Nick. The theme tune is going to be stuck in my head for weeks now.
Yeah, I'm going to be singing it forever. Oh, it's so good, isn't it, though?
It's good. Da-da-da.
Da-da-da. Yeah. I hope there's space in your memory to answer that question too, Robin, so you need to stop singing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's that time. I asked you at the start of the pod, didn't I? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember the question.
Okay, so in Up, what is the name of the old man who attaches balloons to his house?
Is it Bob?
No, Robin, it's definitely not Bob.
No?
No, I mean, it's a good guess, but it isn't Bob. He does look like a Bob, actually, with his glasses, doesn't he?
Yeah, I thought that. A bit granddaddy.
Bit granddaddy. No, not Bob anymore.
Fraser.
Fraser, no, close. Do you want to have one more guess?
Connor?
It's not Connor.
Oh.
It's close, though. He's actually called Carl Fredrickson.
Is it?
Yeah, he doesn't really look like a Carl Fredrickson.
Well, I don't know what a Carl Fredrickson looks like.
Oh, it's Fredrickson.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Carl Fredrickson, that's his name.
Anyway, I guess that's all we've got time for in this week's episode of Stream It. Now, don't forget to rate, comment, and follow Stream It wherever you get your podcast from.
Yeah, we've been Connor and Robin, and we're presenters at Fun Kids, a children's radio station from the UK. You can listen all around the country on your DAB, digital radio, and at funkidslive.com. And you can hear me weekdays from 7 p.m. See you there.
Definitely worth a listen to Connor. And you can hear me on Fun Kids in the Weekend Breakfast Show from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Saturday and Sunday, where you get a chance to be the DJ with me. It's Breakfast Control.
Yeah, that is so much fun. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with a brand new Stream It for you next week. Robin, after 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bye.